think it would probably be more men who want situationships, because for a guy, they're getting everything they want out of a relationship without the commitment.
Amen.
I feel like women seek out commitment more than men do. So like for a woman, she feels like she's losing out in a situationship, whereas a man feels like he's actually gaining. He's gaining because he's getting
all
everything.
The perks of a relationship, and then he's also able to fuck anyone else.
Chemical X.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Chemical X podcast. It's your girl Veronica
And your other girl Alessia.
and today we're ready to take off and ride or die.
You guys have to be ride or die fans today because
Well, I have the
I'm about to get on a Harley
snow
Davidson motorcycle. I hate when I do this. I justify my outfits with like it's the trend. It's nice. Like, why do I have to be that old farty parent saying, why are your pants ripped? Like,
100%.
This is the style.
This is the style.
You don't need a Harley Davidson in order to wear this.
Well, I have like breakdancing pants on. Like when Alessia gave them to me, she was like, you have to like really pull them tight. Like it felt like really putting on my dad's pants. Like they were scrunchy at the bottom, scrunchy at the waist. You know, I was like, I'm not used to this shit. Like what happened to skinny jeans, man? But I'm not gonna lie, I feel free in them. I feel free, but I also feel very loud. Like I feel like that one kid in class.
But you also feel like those are the type of pants you can gain a bunch of weight and nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
Like you're vibing.
But this is the type of pants that when you're walking in the hallway, you always hear that one kid behind you like this.
Yeah.
And you're like, the fuck?
Yeah. Or you know, snow pads.
Snow pants as well. These are actually the snow pants that the cool kids would wear. Like they weren't real snow pants.
Are you calling me cool? Because they're mine.
Well, do you wear them as snow pants?
I mean,
think
no,
so.
but I mean, I would wear tights and then those over as snow pants.
Good.
They're a
Do you
bit
like
lighter
snow?
than those thick snow pants.
You know, over the years, when you start shopping for yourself, you realize there's actually cute options out there for snow pants, and your parents just didn't buy you those.
Veronica?
So I'm not gonna lie, I actually love my snow pants that I have. They're very flattering.
Veronica,
You know
that
what I
was
mean?
the most accurate thing. I've seen nothing but nice snow pads.
Snowwear.
Snowwear. I was like, how do I say
Jackets,
this?
outerwear.
Like when you see people in Aspen, they have the cute stuff.
When I was a kid, it was sook, and you looked like a box.
Yeah,
with
now
your
it's
mittens.
like you have a sick body, you have an ass lift,
With
like,
cinched waist.
You have you have a cinched waist. You're in some one piece that you don't even have to bring 6 pieces.
And like nowadays, snow pants. Who knew they were so thin? I always thought snow pants were 5 layers. Anyways, so guys, welcome to today's episode. Actually, somebody the other.
Are you starting the motorcycle? Or?
I'm actually
That sounds like a
starting
motorcycle
scooter.
that didn't turn on.
Yeah. So actually somebody commented on one of the episodes saying like, so does she actually have a stutter? And I was like, no, I'm just dumb. I'm just stupid. I'm just like uneducated. I just actually don't know how to speak. So no, it's not a medical
I
condition.
saw that.
I wish I could have an
No,
excuse
you
and
know
say
what
like,
the most funny comment we got was? It was too funny. Veronica would date a stripper, but she won't date a guy who golf. We never spoke about this.
you know what I said? I cried
I
laughing.
literally was like, I'm gonna take it upon myself to laugh my fucking ass off.
That was
Veronica and
funny.
all her like, no, he can't do this. He can't do. Would you date a guy who does OnlyFans? Yeah. Would you date a stripper? Yeah. But he can't play golf because that's a red flag.
Oh, plays golf? Get the fuck out of here. Has an OnlyFans.
Honestly,
Strips on the weekend? No problem.
our
Plays
fans
golf?
really keep us in check. It's too funny.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I still agree with myself. I would date a guy who does OnlyFans, but I just don't agree. It's not my type of guy who does golf. I'm sorry. Give me the OnlyFans guy over a golf guy.
I hope your man starts golf tomorrow and picks it up and is like, I'm sorry, this was.
Well, he's not allowed.
I mean,
It's
he's
not-
gonna
it's
have to
against the
hide it
rules.
from you. He's gonna have to hide it from
No,
you.
it's against the rules. You can't play golf after I've publicly humiliated myself.
Yeah, but
saying
what if
no
you
golf.
go to the golf cart? The golf cart.
Golf cart? Well, that's
what
where
if
I'm
you
going, the golf
go
cart.
and you?
I
Okay,
play
you
golf
could be
as long
like,
as I'm the.
yeah, but you can be like the Insta babe who just goes there with her short skirt and it's like, babe, take pictures of me. And like,
Yes, but like I'd rather tennis.
okay,
Like
fair.
I'd rather be a tennis girly, like a rich tennis girly, than like a rich golf girly.
Yeah, but I feel like
Like,
there's a
golf
lot
is
more
so
rich.
quiet.
There's a lot more rich golf guys.
Really? I feel like there's
Yeah.
more rich tennis guys.
Really? No.
I feel like both. They're both
I think
like
golf is one of the most expensive sports.
whatever.
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 There is in
They don't
tennis
talk
too.
in golf. They're literally silent.
And what do they do in tennis? They talk?
Oh,
Yeah.
oh.
And suddenly she's playing We Fit.
Or we tennis, whatever.
Oh, guys, We Fit. Ew.
Yeah. Anyways, as I was trying to say was don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below, and leave us 5 stars on Apple Podcast and Spotify. And by the way, guys, we have merch on the way. It's coming so soon. It's about to come out like, oh my God, 2 minutes away. So stay tuned.
You can just hype them like that and then say, stay tuned. We've gone this long without merch. You guys could fucking wait another week. Like,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyways, I'm not really sure when it's coming out because I don't know when this is coming out. So it might already be out. Check
Stop
the
winking
links
like
down
that.
below. I
Guys,
can't.
Veronica's just winking like this.
That's my
Are you sure
wings.
they're talking about your stutter or your wigs?
I think it's all of the above, eh? Might be stutter in the eye. So I want to show you a video. Shh. I want to show you a video. Sorry, I wasn't shushing you. For anyone listening on audio, they're going to go, bitch. You just shush your co-host.
I mean, so something you would do.
100.
Wait, hold on. All of a sudden, well,
I'll do
I
off
moved
camera.
up from a friend to a only business partner.
I actually don't shush people. I just cut them off. It's just worse. Honestly, shush me.
No, shush is like, that's fucking
No,
disrespectful.
you know what's more disrespectful?
Or when they,
Like not even saying anything, just putting their hand to like stop you from talking. That's like,
I think all of them are really disrespectful
Yeah.
though. Like, don't talk over me, but that's what we do here on the podcast.
yeah, that's what we do here. So I want to show you a video because when I had watched it, which was a couple of weeks ago now, and I can't even remember what was said, but when I did watch it, I was shook. So we're gonna react to it right now. That's what we're gonna do here. So right before we were about to film this podcast, we got a very special delivery, and I was very excited to say the least. Surprised.
I mean, who's not going to be excited about more jewelry just entering the house?
So Every Jewels shipped us on over a super cute surprise package full of goodies. I'm wearing some right now, some rings, some bracelets. I have my phone case, Do Not Disturb.
I'm wearing the silver hoops. I feel like I always needed a good pair of silver hoops that are thick. And
Because we like it thick.
we like it thick. And I've definitely added the thickness to my collection.
And guys, they have everything. They also sent us some really cute tote bags. Love to send a little message across, you know? And what I really love about them is you can get so many cute things. I feel like when it comes to jewelry, there's so many different pieces of jewelry that you can wear with different things, but then it's always so expensive. So you end up like just going for simple things or like things that you'll make
wearing the same
thing all the time. But I feel like with them, it's so affordable that you can get so many fun pieces, little rings, like just stackable stuff. And jewelry is the most fun when you're stacking it. So you can get so much bang for your buck. So
stack it up with our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off anything on their website.
Hey guys, so I'm gonna do things my exes did that I thought were normal, but they weren't. Because I've been seeing so many people do this, and I feel like I gotta join in. The first one is that he was signed up to an old woman dating app from before he met me. But he was still signed up to a dating app where you would meet old women. I would always find...
okay, wait. I just want to talk about that one. How would you feel if you found out your man was signed up for like a seeking arrangements? I don't know if they do girls on there, but like, let's say seeking arrangements. But he's like, your man
Yeah,
is
but
signed
it's
up
not
to-
a
to
seeking
meeting a
arrangement.
girl.
It's just probably like his taste. He's into older women. Is
I
it like a
think-
financial thing?
Probably. No.
You couldn't figure out how to make money. It's one thing for a girl to do it. I think it's different for a guy. Figure it out.
Yeah, figure it out. Yeah.
I would always find condoms in his jean pockets.
Okay. Biggest red flag.
That's a huge red flag in his jean pockets. That's not you're sleeping with your girl. You don't keep condoms in your pocket for your girl.
No.
Bedside table.
One time when I was severely ill, when I had a stomach bug, every time I would nearly be sick, he would insanely tickle my stomach. And it was just like the worst pain ever. And I thought it was funny. But looking back, it wasn't funny.
Anyways,
He
whatever.
would literally sleep with his phone in his pillowcase under his pillow, and his hand would be on it all night.
Wait.
He would sleep with his phone in his pillowcase with his hand on the phone in the pillowcase. Like if that doesn't say break up.
Like
If
he's
mo-
so scared she's
He's
gonna
so
take the
scared
phone that
he
he's
puts his phone in the pillowcase.
at that point just get a safe and put your phone in at night. Like
well, at that point, just say, "Babe, I'm cheating."
it's
Well,
just
that says, "Babe, I'm cheating."
I mean, yeah.
I mean,
But like
in the pillowcase. Listen, there's one thing to like put the phone under the pillow, which is what I do in general, just like even when I'm sleeping alone, just because like that's where I put it. But in your pillowcase,
I've never been one of those girls though. Like I put it on the charger and it's like on the nightstand.
Yeah.
Like I actually feel like I wake up fucked up if like my phone is on the bed.
bed.
Or like when you're charging it and then now you want to you still want to stay on your
You wanna
phone.
turn around.
But you want to turn around. So you're like, okay, I'm accepting the fact that I'm going to have 50% tomorrow. So let me just turn around. But
100%.
then you wake up all groggy, fucked up. You slept wrong. And then you're like, where's my phone? Like I feel like phone on the nightstand dictates if you slept well.
100%. But I don't have a nightstand. I'll put it on like the edge of my bed sometimes. But sometimes I just put it in my bed with me.
Yeah.
For me, the phone thing is like, if you're not comfortable leaving your phone around me in a room, like you're cheating on me.
Well, he's not comfortable. He's putting it in some sheets.
Oh, does he zip his pockets up and put a lock too?
Holy.
Like, what the fuck?
If I annoyed him in the car or we had an argument, he would always make me get out of the car, wherever we was. I would be get kicked out of the car.
Okay.
Do you know the level of disrespect? If somebody kicked me out of the car,
I've done that though.
Wait, what? You've gotten out or you've kicked out?
I've done both.
Okay,
And I'm telling you, it's way worse being the person who kicks someone out because the feeling after of like, okay, I was really pissed, but like, because now you got to work harder. Whereas like the person who got out of the car, like they're just walking now to a destination. They have no idea where they're going. Because now you have to be that person to convince them. You have to put your ego aside, right? Because when you kick someone out, they're not like, hey, they're trying to get back in. Like you have to convince them to get back in that you were being crazy.
Right.
Which is a lot more work.
Which is harder.
And a lot more pride. Put
yeah.
aside.
I mean,
aside.
I've been the out walking, like leaving the car, like by. And I remember it was on a really busy street and my ex was trying to follow me, but like he kept getting stuck at like the red lights. And I was like walking so fast. I was like, well, can't even chase me. And then he was like rolling down the window, yelling at me through the window. And it was a busy street, man. Like people were like, what's going on here? You know? And at one point he was like, get in the car. And I was like, you know what? I think it's time I get in the car.
But
Like,
they got to try a couple times
you need them to try. If you would try once and drive away, I'd be pissed. I'd be fuming.
the whole time you're walking, but you're like,
Yeah. You're walking,
Where is
but you're
he?
like, where is he? You know?
and,
I'll
and as the walker, you always want to push it to like the next extreme. Like, I am not going to get in. Like, it could be raining, it could be snowing.
Oh.
Like, I will go to the ends of the earth to prove to you how pissed I am.
And you know what's the worst part is I'm not gonna like take an Uber. Like I'm gonna walk. Like I will walk.
my
Like,
God.
I'm not catching no bus, no form of transportation.
thunderstorms and all, I am
I'm
walking.
feet.
If I die, it's because
of you. And I'm coming home 2 hours later because I walked the entire 2 hours. And you're gonna know.
And you know what it's gonna be? Silent treatment. And that's the worst.
And that's the worst. And the whole 2 hour walk, you're pissed.
Oh my God.
You're just thinking about.
But
But
you're just thinking about the fact that you're never gonna talk to them again.
I'm the type to even like walk down a one way so they can't even chase me, you know. And it's like you gotta do like a. Then you're really trying to find me. Like I'm toxic
Like
to that
we're
point.
gonna go to the ends of the earth. Like, show me how much you love me.
Show me, get out of the car. I know we're on a highway, but I always remember the only other time I've been kicked out of a car was my sister. She kicked me out of the car. We weren't far from our destination, but she fully kicked me out and made me walk the rest of the way. And I was like screaming, like I'm not getting out of the car. And I don't even remember how she got me out of the car, but she was like losing her mind and forced me to get out of the car. I was like, bro, this is another level of disrespect. And I walked to our destination.
There's so much anger in that walk, though.
It's also like, who are you? Like, I get it, like a boyfriend kicking me out, but who are you kicking me out of the car? My sister?
I feel like, guys, write in the comments down below if you have some funny stories about being kicked out of a car or kicking someone out, because I
Also-
feel like everyone has a story like that. Like, I kicked my ex out of a car in Miami. Like, I've done it in other places.
Really? But
Yeah.
you know what's weird about kicking somebody out of the car is like at a point you have to like decide that like you're not allowed in the car and like you need to actually get out. Like you can't physically kick someone out of the car. Like they need to at some point decide they're also gonna get out of the car.
Yeah.
He decided. He decided. But what did he do that you kicked him out?
Oh my God, I can't remember. Probably something stupid. Or probably me just being crazy.
You know,
of the
one or the
two.
other.
But like, I don't know if when you ask someone to get out of the car, if you ever really mean it.
I think in the
No.
moment you do, but like,
The second they walk out, it's the instant like,
yeah,
oh
you're like,
no.
oh, I didn't deal with this. And it's like, okay, get back in. And they're not getting back in. Once I get out of that car, anyways.
Yeah.
If I had work and he didn't want me to go, he would offer to pay me the same price that I was getting paid at work. And I used to think, yeah, okay, at least I'm still getting paid. But low-key, I was ruining my career.
I mean, it's kind of nice though.
Yeah.
Look, it sucks down the line because it's like, what are their motives? Like, are they trying to have you fully so that, you know what I mean?
it
You
once
need to
in a
rely
while?
on them. But like, I'm not going to lie. Like, once in a while, it's like, yeah.
Yeah.
And I
Take my
know
day off.
even like my friend, she was like, when she was talking to this guy, and a lot of the times they're like, well, just take off work. Like we're going up north, like whatever you miss of work, like I'll cover it. And I actually get that though.
Yeah, I get
It's
it.
like, if you really want my company, then
Yeah.
pay up.
But also like,
Especially you, for let's say like you work in a club.
Yeah.
Let's say, you know,
Yeah.
and you're like dating and someone's like, it'd have to really be worth your while for going.
100%. But I also think like if it's to the point where you're doing that all the time, it's a bit like, hey, do you even care about me?
Yeah.
You know, do you even care about my life?
A lot of girls will
He would
like
say
that.
things like your skin looks so dry and crusty and it doesn't glow like it used to. And I used to think, oh, how nice. He's telling me that my skin isn't glowing. I need to make sure it glows again. But realistically, it was always fucking glowing. I went on his phone once and he had an album on his phone of pictures with all different girls in it, which he would wank to. And there was pictures of my sisters in there. Hey, God.
That was the worst one for me.
I
When I
mean,
heard
yeah.
that, I was like,
Is she a good TikToker? I would have threw that one in at the beginning.
no, I like the cliffhanger at the end. If I would catch my man,
I think it's also because you have a sister. It's that much more like
Personal?
realistic,
Yeah.
personal, and like serious.
but also, first of all, for him to even have an album of pictures of girls that he would jerk off to is like, that alone is fucked up.
But he's probably not going in saying it's to jerk off.
I'm sure.
I
I'm
mean,
sure she
obviously
knew.
it is.
Yeah. I'm sure she knew. Pictures of her sisters. I think there's one thing for me, and it's like, if you,
That's sick.
yeah, that's fucked up. I would never, no. That's disgusting.
But do you think sometimes guys, if like you're around the same age as a sister, like kid is really fucked up, but like you don't think sometimes they maybe think like, I think it for sure happens.
Yeah.
Well, my
it
ex, he dated both sisters. So like clearly when he was dating one, he was thinking about fucking the other one. So you know what? My ex has that same camera roll.
I just like, I'd like to think no, because like it makes me want to cry, but it's obviously inevitable, like especially if somebody is good looking. But like I've dated people with like good looking siblings, and I've never been like, oh, like I'd fuck your sibling, even if they were the better looking sibling.
But you're attesting and saying that you found them good looking.
But you can say somebody's good looking, but I would never go to the
Right.
point of like,
Right.
and usually, I don't know. I think I wouldn't go for somebody who their type is my sister. Even though we're kind of
like,
similar.
Like you have different tastes, so
We
it
have
wouldn't
different
even happen that way.
Yeah, like I think I would feel weird if somebody would be like saying that they like essentially my sister. I'd be like, okay, well, you don't want to be with me, you know?
Yeah.
I think that's one thing for me. Like if a guy would
But
have
like all that aside, just finding them pretty is like fine. I think
Yeah.
it's just,
I think it's normal to be like, oh, like, and I don't even find it
but
bad.
it's still weird though.
Like I've spoken to people and been in relationships with people that had like, let's say, a better looking sibling than them, but I was still more attracted to like because it's also
Yeah,
personality
no, that I get,
thing.
that I
You know what I
get.
mean? Like I think you could have a better looking sibling and be like, you're totally not like I would never,
for sure.
even though like physically maybe you're a little better looking, like I still think you're like I'm way more attracted to the person I'm with, you know?
Absolutely.
So, but like I think as a guy, I don't know.
As a
that
guy,
would
if
be-
you're taking all of that out of the equation,
I wouldn't be able to come back from that. If a guy would tell me like, yeah, I'd want to fuck your sister, like I'd be like, okay, well we can't be together.
yeah.
Like because now I can never unthink that.
Yeah.
You know, that's fucked. For me, that's fucked up.
It is fucked up.
That's fucked up.
But like you look up porn and what are the titles?
100%. But I think it's like,
Stepsister leaves.
but I think in that context, it's different. It's not like your sister. It's like you're the sister.
Yeah, but there's a lot of different ones.
Yeah, there's some scenarios in there, you know,
Yeah,
that I'm sure
like-
that hit home. But I just think for me, it's different. Like I could find out a guy slept with one of my friends and I would be more okay with it than if they slept with my sister. Like my sister,
Yeah,
I would be
because
like, I would be like canceled off.
Because that's blood.
Yeah, and it's just weird. It's weird too
I mean,
because like
friend
with your
too, close friend too, it's weird.
It's weird, but it's not as weird as
Yeah.
like knowing that you've been with my family member.
Yeah.
Like that would just not be okay for me.
There's a guy I know that was like engaged to one and then literally went like broke things off and then went for the sister.
But
It would make me think like, was our whole relationship a lie? The entire time you were eating dinner with my father and mother, you were thinking about fucking my sister.
Oh yeah. But my thing is also like I would never talk to my sister again. Because it's not only the betrayal from him, but realistically, like he doesn't owe, like yes, he owes me something, but he's not the one who has the boundary of like I'm your sister. I'm not gonna do this to you.
Oh, for sure.
Like I think it's almost more fucked up on the part of the sister.
Absolutely.
Like what are you doing?
No. It's I think the sister thing is what's fucked up about it.
And then it's like how I wouldn't even want to
And
be
engaged?
like I wouldn't even
Like
want
you
to be
literally
this.
you went up to the father and you asked for her hand in marriage, and then you went for the sister.
Would
Like, that's fucked.
Would you rather be the sister he dated first or the sister
First.
he dated second?
first? Always first.
But then
Because
you're thinking
I'm not
about he was thinking about fucking her the whole time.
Yeah, but still, I'll deal with the emotional like trauma than being the bad sister. Like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
And
that's
having
so-
to think every time you guys are fucking now, he's fucked me. Like at least you're not thinking that
It's
during
like
when
it's like when a girl dates, like even with a best friend or like someone, like if you've hooked up with them first or dated them and then they go for whoever else, like you're never really in the wrong. It's like, well, I mean, I was first,
Yeah.
you were second,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
you know, like you're sloppy seconds.
Yeah. But I think it's just more the trauma of thinking like, oh my God, was he thinking about fucking her this whole time? But I think it's more traumatic.
I don't know. I'll ask my ex.
That's not okay.
That
for
was
me.
the
That's
episode where
trauma.
I tried a chocolate mushroom.
Yeah.
And he was like, not at the same time. Remember? No fucking shit. Open up that camera roll.
I think even like wanting to fuck my
But it's
friends
like there's
is
so
weird.
many people in this world. Like, can you not go find anyone else? You have to go for my sister.
And that's fucked
But
up.
then it's like, are they thinking like kinkiness? Like, ooh, like
But that's even weirder. That's even weirder if it's like a fetish. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's even fucking
I know
weirder.
what you mean.
Like it's weird in a relationship. Oh. It's one thing if you want to like fuck one sister and then fuck the other sister on like two different occasions and like whatever, like there's nothing deep. Like when it's a relationship, when it's like deep like that.
When it's
what
like
you
you've
doing?
come to the house, you literally spoke to my parents, and now what? You show up back at the house dating the sister.
How could you even do that?
I mean, you can't. First of all, you would never be allowed in the house.
It's weird. It's just weird. It's weird when you have siblings of the same.
But take emotions out of the picture. If we're trying to picture like he just had a better connection with your sister, like it just worked better. It's disgusting, but who's more in the wrong?
the sister.
Yep. Completely.
100%.
Like, why would you even allow it to get there?
Why would you allow it to get there?
And I feel like there's also some kind of jealousy there.
Yeah.
Anyway, not into it.
Not into it. Good
That's
thing
why
you
I
don't
had
have a sister.
brothers.
Yeah, that's why I chose brothers. I'm left with the trauma, you know. That's I even spoke about that at one point.
You know what though? There's trauma with both, I think. It's just different.
It's more competitive with his sister, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But I had even said that a couple of episodes ago that I was like, when I was younger, I was like so worried that like if I would like date somebody, they'd be like, oh, like I wish I had like the sister instead. And I'm like, that's so like traumatic.
That's so sad.
I know. But then I think like you develop your own personality and like you know that the person you're going for is going for like who you are. So like I know that now it's not something that would, you know what I mean? Because it's like we're just really different people.
Mm-hmm.
But like I feel like when you're younger and it's so like,
Because younger, it's less like you're not really having conversations. It's more about like, you know,
Yeah, crush.
looks and like crush.
but like it's
So
definitely
it's like,
tough.
bye, I'm going to the next.
Yeah. And I can't even imagine like twins. Like first of all, if I'd be a twin, I'd be like,
need
so you
to
want to
hear
fuck my
about-
sister?
I need to hear about stories of people dating twins and how they can be mistaken and just go and like make out with the sister by mistake. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm sure there's so many situations like that happen.
But my thing would be like, if we look identical, does that mean you want to fuck my sister?
I mean, probably.
I mean, yeah.
But then again, it's like you said, like personalities,
Yeah.
characters. But I also think when you're dating a twin, you're able to really see the difference more than anyone else.
Oof.
Crazy.
I don't know if I'd be a good twin. I'd be like, I'd dye my hair purple or something.
I mean, you don't need to be a twin for that. You do that all on your own.
Jeez, it's true. Okay, well, that's enough trauma for the beginning of this episode. So actually what we want to talk about, halfway through the episode, we want to talk about situationships because we've been getting a lot of questions.
You guys have been asking, you want to know more about situationships. You just keep busting and now we're just like, my pants are busting and it's time to undo the load.
So I've gifted every man in my life right now the Manscaped cologne because it smells so good. And I'm not even just saying that, like it actually smells so good.
I just gifted one and they were shocked to smell the smell they smelled.
Smell the smell they smelled. She sells seashells by the seashore.
They were loving the smell.
And they also have the body wash that, has the same scent. I was going to say flavor, but that's for another thing. They have, like we said, cologne now. They have body wash in the same scent as the cologne, which I promise you guys, just trust me because you trust me because you're here. It smells really fucking good. And also, the huge, they have the beard hedger kit. They have the lawnmower 4.0.
The weed whacker.
Literally everything you need. So guys, if you want to be smelling good, looking smooth, and just being on top of everyone else and your girl.
Yeah. And if you trust us so much on these podcasts with advice, then this is definitely one to take. So guys, use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout to receive 20% off everything on the website. And then if that wasn't good enough, we're also giving you free shipping. So get going.
I mean, I personally feel like I've actually had a lot of situationships. So I kind of feel like, I don't want to say an expert in this area.
Let's dive right in.
But I've definitely had a lot of situationships. And we were discussing this before. And I was like, I actually think I know why I've had so many situationships.
Yeah.
Is because it's really hard for me to just like be intimate with somebody and like have sex with somebody without like a connection or something that's ongoing. And I really, like I said in the past, don't like having one night stands. I don't like casual sex. Like it just doesn't work for me.
I think like for most girls too, though, it's like scary to keep seeing different dicks, and like, especially when you're just like, you hit it off, sex is good. It's like, why would I keep doing it with a bunch of other people when like there's this one good dick? Like, I'm just gonna stick to it. Like, dicks could be scary,
And it's not even about like the sex. It's also just like, I don't
it's
like.
comfortable. It's easy.
Yeah. I hate, like some people like dating multiple people, but I personally like dating one. And like, I hate being all over the place. Like I enjoy just getting to know one person, even if it's not like nothing leading to a relationship. But like, I like to have that one person that like I'll spend my free time with when I have free time. And I also like prefer having sex with like one person that I'm actually seeing and actually have some type of like connection and relationship with.
Isn't that everyone though?
I don't know. I think some people like
I can
don't
talk to multiple people, but I don't want to be sleeping with a million.
Yeah.
Like that's the difference. Like you could like want to be chatting and like getting to know and going on dates, but normally there's only really one you want to be sleeping with.
But I feel like for me, and maybe I guess it just depends, but I feel like for me, it's either like all or nothing. So it's either like I'm talking to no one and I don't care about anyone, or like I have one person and I'm talking to that person only. Like
Okay,
I'm not really
That's where
like
I'm different, but like I feel like most girls don't want to just like sleep around with a bunch of guys.
Yeah, no, for sure. But like I think that's just what leads me into having a lot of situationships, because I just, like to get to know people, and and I very often am avoiding commitment, so then I end up in that limbo of like, oh, let's just like see each other and like hook up and like essentially be in a relationship. But honestly, half the time my situationships have been because of me, and the other half have been because of the other person, So, what is a situationship?
Here we go. I feel like I have a different definition to it than you. I feel like sometimes a situationship could be something that you thought was going to be and then wasn't. Like it doesn't necessarily mean like you were at a stage where you were seeing each other all the time, and it's like you're about to date and like one person wants to date and the other person's just like, no, I don't want the commitment. I think a situationship could happen too when you're just like getting to know someone and nothing has even like, there hasn't really been anything that was like they told you they wanted a relationship,
Right.
let's say. Like it could just be like a situationship in your mind.
Right.
You know?
And, I agree. And I think there's like people define it differently. You know, sometimes it's like talking stage. Sometimes it's like when you've passed the talking stage. So like in my eyes, it's more of like after like a couple of months of talking and you become more so like essentially in a relationship, but without the title and like without having like the conversation of like, what are we? But we're still doing relationship things and we're a little bit closer than just talking.
Right.
Like, you know more about me. You're more involved with my friends. Like you're chilling with all my friends. You're doing all this stuff, but there's no title. There's no relationship. There's no commitment, you know?
Whereas I feel like for me, I feel like my type of situationships have been where it was a situation. We were a thing. Like we were talking all the time. But then I feel like a lot of the times guys would just kind of like know that this is becoming a situationship and then kind of just, you know, stop messaging all the time and just kind of make sure that you know it's not a relationship.
Right.
Which also fucks with you, right? Because it's like someone could be writing to you all the time and then all of a sudden stop.
Right.
Right? Because it's like they're pulling back because they don't want you to think it's a relationship.
Right.
So you're kind of still in a situationship because
Yeah.
you're like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, no, I think it's whenever you're just like confused about the relationship you're in and it feels like it's more than what it is, you know? Like you feel like you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's something that everyone has experienced at some point. You know, you always get into this thing where you're like, I'm not really sure what we are. And I find that's the awkwardest stage because you never know what to do. You never know. Like sometimes you'll want to like tell them something or invite them somewhere. Or you're like, you'll want to tell them about your day, but then you're like, but is that too much? Because we're like not dating. So
Yeah.
where do we stand? You know? And I find that's such an annoying part of dating in that, you know, in that time. Like that's
Yeah.
such an annoying period
I have
of
a
dating.
question for you. Do you think more women or men find themselves in situationships? I know a situationship is technically, you know, two parties involved, but sometimes it's more one person that's calling it a situationship because it's more one person that wants the relationship.
Yeah. I think depends, but I think it would probably be more men who want situationships because for a guy, they're getting everything they want out of a relationship without the commitment.
Amen.
And like, I feel like women seek out commitment more than men do. So like for a woman, she feels like she's losing out in a situationship, whereas a man feels like he's actually gaining in a situationship.
He's gaining.
He's gaining because he's getting
all
everything.
the perks of a relationship, and then he's also being able to quote unquote fuck anyone else. We don't want to call it cheap because he's technically not in the relationship.
Right.
And
but
I
he has
think
the freedom to sleep with who he wants, talk to other girls.
Yeah.
He doesn't have anything stopping
he doesn't
him,
have
no commitment.
any commitments.
Right. So I think it's more beneficial for a guy to be in a situationship. But I've also like a couple of times wanted situationships. Like I've been the one who was seeking that out. Like I personally didn't want a relationship and I just wanted like nothing more than a situationship, you know? So
Yeah.
I think it just depends what you want, but I would definitely say it's definitely more beneficial for guys.
They're getting the best of both
Yeah.
worlds. And I think that's literally like my first point for women. If you don't want to find yourself in a situationship, then stop doing things that are relationship worthy.
Right.
They didn't lock you down. They don't deserve that royal treatment. And especially if you're giving them that royal treatment, then they never, ever, ever have to make you their girlfriend because they got everything. It's kind of like what I was saying in the last episode. You don't want to give everyone everything of you, especially when they're not deserving of it.
Right. I totally agree. I think in a situationship, you end up there because, you know, also
because you're trying to prove,
You're
right?
trying to
Like,
prove.
date me. Like, this is what it would be like dating me. And it's
Right.
like the only thing you're doing by doing that is letting them know that they don't have to date you.
exactly.
That's literally the biggest misconception. It's like, look, I could do this. I could clean. I would be the best girl.
wife,
and
and,
it's
this
like,
is why you should choose me.
and
It's like,
guys don't actually respect someone who does that.
yeah. And I think a lot of the times, well, actually, I think all of the time, a situationship, there's always one person that wants it to be a relationship and one person that doesn't. So I think that's what makes the basis of a situationship, because if it was a relationship, you know, both parties would be wanting it. And if it wasn't anything, then neither would be pursuing anything, you know?
Yeah.
So I think when it's a situationship, it's because one person expects more and the other person is kind of playing along with it because they're getting
Something
stuff
out of
of
it.
it, but they can't give them exactly what they want, you know? So it's really tricky, and I think it always ends bad. I mean, situationships always end bad. I feel like they sometimes end in relationships, but it's tricky depending how long they last.
And I think if you're in a situationship and you want more from them, I think the number one tip or advice, well, second, because I already gave one, but second would be literally to tell them how you feel. If they're not ready and they don't want that, like straight off the bat, like leave, because staying in a situationship is just going to make you one more insecure because you always feel like you need to prove why you're good. And it's like, babe, you are good. Walk away and find somebody who's willing to give you that. It's fine to get in one, I think,
Yeah.
but if you want more, then you have to be able to walk away.
Yeah.
If they're not able to meet your needs.
And I think a lot of people end up in a situationship because they want a
They're
relationship.
scared. They don't want to like lose
Yeah.
the person by telling them how they actually feel because they're worried that they're not going to feel the same way. Well, it's like if someone doesn't feel the same way, then that's not for you and that's not the thing you should be pursuing.
Exactly. And I think like they end up in a situationship because they want a relationship, but they're willing to settle for a situationship because that person isn't ready. But all you're doing is actually ruining your chances of actually having a relationship. And I think that's totally the wrong mindset because a lot of people will feel like, okay, well, I really want to be in a relationship and I really like this guy and we have a good connection. So maybe let me just wait it out until he's actually ready and I can prove to him that like I'm like a good choice and like he should date me and like here's why. But in reality, you're showing all your cards before you're actually, you know,
Playing.
their girlfriend. And you're just putting down your worth because you shouldn't have to prove to somebody as to why they should choose you. And I think it's a subconscious thing that actually affects you being in a situationship and constantly feeling you're not good enough. I think we don't realize it, but putting ourselves in a situation where we feel the need to constantly prove ourselves to be chosen, let's say, is really not good for how you see
It's
yourself.
just a toxic, like,
Yeah. And then when they finally come around to choosing you, like it's not the same. I think when you want a relationship, you need to also be able to, you know, accept, like, I think sometimes people think they're cutting corners by waiting because this one person, they have a good connection with them. And they're like, okay, I'll just wait it out. But in reality, you're wasting more time by doing that because you're waiting on the wrong person to be ready for you. When in reality, you could just cut that person off and go find somebody who you're going to actually have a connection with. And also they're going to be ready for a relationship.
yeah. And also, I don't want to get your hopes up that it's like leave them and they might come back, but the chances of them coming back and missing what they had and knowing what they have, that they have to step up to the plate if they do want to reach back out to you is just a lot higher than you staying in it and waiting for the sky to fall.
Yeah. I also think in a situationship, at some point you do have to have the conversation, and it's always scary being the one who wants the relationship because like you said, you're so afraid that they're not going to want it back. But I think once you do make the choice to have that conversation and they say like no, I think, you know, if you walk away, I think sometimes like people are expecting them to like chase you and stuff, and sometimes it could be like a little bit of a boost. But even at that, like I personally wouldn't, like, yeah, I think sometimes it might take a little push for somebody to be like, okay, I'm willing to do this for you. Like, even though it didn't align the way I wanted to, like, I don't want to lose you and I'm willing to commit to you. Like, if that's what you want, I'm going to give you what you want. But like, sometimes it's also just like, I don't want to have to threaten you in a way for you to want to
see
be with
my
me.
value.
Yeah, I don't want to have to prove my value to you. I want you to be like, you deserve a relationship and that's what I'm going to give you, you know? I feel like
that's what I want.
Yeah, and I feel like it sucks when you have to almost like threaten someone to leave and then that's when they want you, you know? But I think that's also a telltale sign. If you tell
No, you
somebody
don't
like,
have to-
can you give me a relationship? And they're like, no, I'm not ready. Then it's like, okay, well, you're wasting my fucking time. See you
Yeah.
later.
But I think when you make the decision and realize that I could walk away right now and they might not ever come around, then it's shitty. And like, I know it's like a shitty way to kind of live and be like, well, maybe like he'll come back, but there is a chance, honestly, because then he's going to be out in the real world. He's going to see what's going on. He's going to realize all the things you did do for him, you know, so that there is that chance that
There
they
is that
realize
chance.
afterwards that, yeah, maybe.
It's something that they want. I also think situationships are so tricky because I find they're almost like an addiction in a way. It's like
You're fighting for someone's love. Yeah, it's an addiction.
It's an addiction. Like you're constantly trying to prove yourself, constantly trying to like be the number one and like prove why you should be chosen. And then you get almost like addicted to this chase of proving to them that you're not even actually having a proper relationship. You know what I mean? Like everything is about just proving as to why you're the best. And like you said, you're playing out all your cards. And why would they want to date you? Like you've literally done the most, you know? And I think it could be really bad. Personally, I've been in situationships where, you know, the person really wasn't giving me much and it made me like want to chase so bad. It made me want this person so bad. And like, it was almost like I said, like an addiction, like to get any piece of like attention or affection or anything, because it makes you chase. It makes you want to be like, you know, and as soon as you get their attention, you feel the need to like keep it like for as long as you can. And it almost plays in your mind. And I can even remember when I was in this like situationship, looking at it now, it's like I would never even want that person. But the mindset that they put me in when I felt the need to prove myself, because everybody wants to be chosen. Like it's natural to want to be number one. It's natural to want to be chosen. So naturally being in that situationship puts you in this energy where you're like, fuel to prove. And that was my thing, is like, you know, you're so addicted to this chase because you want to essentially win. And getting outside of that mindset, you're like, wow, I kind of didn't even want this person, you know? And like that's kind of fucked up in a situationship. You end up working so hard for something that by the time you get it, you're like, I don't even know if I actually wanted this.
And I think what you said, loving someone shouldn't be hard like that. Like I want to be pursued. Like I don't want to have to like work. I want the guy who I'm with to just like me more, honestly. Like I want you to pursue me, like prove to me. I think a lot of the times, you know, when we're talking to someone, we create this whole idea of them, of who they are. And it's like, we forget that it's the actions they do that actually count in terms of like whether or not, you know, they're putting in the effort. So I think that's really important, is to actually lead by the actions they do and not the idea you put in your mind of what it would be like to date them.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes, as we spoke about in the past, that's what makes situationships so hard to leave, is because
they're giving you a little bit, so
and you're like inventing the rest.
You're
you know?
inventing the rest. So it's the whole idea of like, what would it be like if they fully committed to me?
If I could just get them, like how perfect would everything be if like I could just lock them down, you know?
And it's like you're living in a fairy tale if that's the case, because realistically, when it's a situationship, you've never seen them, you know, shit, farts, all those things. Like it's literally like imaginary, you know?
It's all
like,
the good things of a relationship.
All the good things of someone, you created the rest. So it's like, it's not real. I think that's one thing to realize. It's not real.
Yeah.
It's literally just the idea of someone.
I know. And it's really sucks. And being someone.
And it hurts the most.
Yeah,
always.
it hurts the most. It's
because it's not real and because you created the best scenario.
Yeah. And I would say the 2 times I've ever gotten my heart broken that I would like consider having my heart broken would be, and I even feel weird saying that because I'm like, does it count as having my heart broken if I wasn't in love, let's say? I was definitely like infatuated, but both the times I technically got my heart broken were from situationships. And one was my first-ish situationship ever. And he ended it with me and he was just like, oh yeah, like, you know, like basically saying like, we're just fucking around and like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like it didn't end up being anything more. And I was like, okay, well, that's not my fault. Like I wanted this to be more. And he was just like, oh, well, I didn't. And that for me was like, because I felt like I was just waiting and waiting for it to like get to the next level. And it wasn't because of me that it wasn't getting to the next level. It was because of him. And I think, you know, being in that energy of like wanting so bad for something to get to the next level and getting it like ripped away from you before you can even get there is like, oh my God, like I just lost everything I ever wanted. But it probably wouldn't have worked out had it pulled through, you know?
It wouldn't have, yeah.
So, and then the second time was a long distance situation. And I think that's the hardest. Because situationship, already you're inventing a fantasy. And long distance, it's like times 10. Because
you're inventing a fantasy, but you're still seeing them pretty often. So like, you're not making up as much as a long distance relationship.
A long distance relationship, you are filling in so many fucking blanks and you create this whole thing. And it's so different seeing someone in real life and being with somebody in real life. And the relationship you can create in your mind in a long distance is actually crazy.
Yeah.
It's actually insane. And that one for me also really hurt too.
Well,
and
even me, like, I feel like there was one guy I was talking to that we were kind of, you know, before we met up, we were talking a lot. Like, I created the whole scenario of what it would be like. And then when it gets ripped from you, like, for me, it made me just not want to do that whole, like, period of talking so much and, like, almost like hyping each other up,
Right.
hyping myself up for it to just not go anywhere. Like, I think going forward, if you don't want to end up in one, I think, like, even if you're talking to someone long distance, it's like, don't do the whole chatting every day, getting to know each other, talking about everything. Like, save that for in person and really allow someone to, like, get to know you. Don't do it the way of just, like, putting all your cards out on the table.
Right.
Like, because then I think as women, especially, we do that. It's like, it's better to just, like, not have anything to, like, hold on to or grasp onto or like, yeah, but he did this. Like, no, let me just see him in person. Let me see what he does in order to prove to me that he wants this.
Right.
So just really allowing yourself to be pursued if you don't want to be in a situationship.
Yeah. And I think it's tough because when you really like somebody, you tend to, and you feel like they don't
You
like you
like
as
move
much.
cubicles out of the way for it to be easy for them to just slide through.
Yeah.
And it's like when a guy actually likes you, he will literally he will literally let you know and move every single cubicle out of the way. You don't have to do anything.
Right.
Men are not hard. It's
Yeah.
like if they want something, they'll literally let you know.
I know.
So if you're feeling confused or lost, it's
for a
because they
reason.
don't want you.
Exactly. Like not knowing is an answer within itself.
Yeah, like you're never going to feel confused with a guy who's pursuing you.
And even a girl too, like speaking from experience being on the other side of a situationship where I was the one who didn't want a relationship, like knowing my mindset, like I was there like, oh yeah, this is great. But I always made sure to keep that distance because I didn't want it to get any closer because, you know, for multiple reasons. But at the end of the day, like if somebody is who you really want to be with, all those little reasons probably wouldn't matter, you know? And yeah, at the time there was like certain things that stopped the relationship from happening, but still, like if that was my perfect person, then I probably would have chose to be in a relationship with them. But obviously they were good enough for me to still want to see, and I still had a great time with them and it was still great, but it just wasn't like enough to take those blocks out of the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I was still like, no, there's like certain reasons why I don't want to be in a relationship right now. And I always kept that like wall between us. And
guys will do that too.
yeah, and guys are going to do the exact same thing. And the reality is, like, for me, you know, it had ended because I couldn't give him what he wanted. And I did not chase him when he left, you know, like I was like, okay, you don't want to do this anymore. Like, cool, see you later. And then like he came back again and tried again. And like I went with it because I was like, okay, like, sure, like this is fine for me because I'm not losing out in it, you know? So I'll do this again. But still in the back of my mind, I knew I wasn't going to be in a relationship with him, you know? And I think it's important to realize that when somebody walks away from you and doesn't chase you, and then you come back to them again and they accept you to come back, it doesn't mean it's because they want you. It just means they're accepting that easy thing again. And it doesn't mean that this time around they're going to give you a relationship. It actually means even less. It means they're willing to do the same fucking shebang all over again.
They're willing to do the bare minimum, yeah.
They know they could get away with the bare minimum, which is essentially me. Like I knew that I could have a good connection.
Have to look within and be like, how, like, that's my self-esteem. That's just like not able to accept the fact that like,
and it's just that person really feels good with you and really sees something with you. But you have to.
I don't want to say self-esteem because it's like if that's what you want and it's a situationship and you don't want more, then it's totally fine.
Yeah.
I think it only really crosses boundaries for you and hurts you if you want more and you're allowing someone to not give you that.
Yeah.
I think that's when it's really hurtful, and that's when you really have to be like, I love myself enough to walk away from this situation.
Absolutely. And I think people are always going to take what's easy. So a guy is always going to take you back in a situationship. Like, even if you go back, it's not because they want to date you this time around. You know, they're always going to take what's easy. And that's the thing about situationships. I feel like they'll like come back. Like they never really die, you know? It's like, it's always like, what could have been? Like, let's try it again. Maybe this time it'll work, you know? But in reality, like, the things that are meant to be, they kind of happen the first time. And I know that sounds kind of weird to say, but I just feel like had you been my person, I would have known the first time around that it was gonna work out, and it wouldn't have taken a second time around for like all the cards, like everything to be right for me to be like, oh wow, look, I actually want to commit to you, you know.
I don't know about.
At least for me, in my experience, like
I think for the most part, yes, but I think sometimes bad timing.
yeah, no, I do agree in bad timing.
Different points in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can come back around and like
It works out.
it works out for sure. But I
Yeah.
think for the most part, yeah, if you're leaving and then you're coming back, it's like, okay, well,
Yeah, you know.
it's like normally you made up your mind and you're like, I'm not. I feel like women and men, we kind of right away on a date will be like, yeah, no. We more or less have an idea of like, yeah, I would date this person, or I'm intrigued, I want to know more. Like the door is still open, or like you've made your decision in your mind. You might have a great date, but like you're kind of just like, no. I've been on dates where I'm like, hey, we're gonna have fun, it's gonna be a good night, but like I'm not dating you.
Yeah. And that's the thing about situationship. It's like also for the other person involved, like even me being in the situationship and not wanting a relationship, it's still perfect for me because it's like I'm getting all the perks. I'm getting the affection. I'm getting the attention. I'm getting the intimacy. We're doing fun things. I love spending time with this person, but I'm not willing to commit. So I'm still getting everything I want from it, you know?
Yeah. You know what's interesting? I feel like I've been in situations where I feel like it's been a situationship, but I don't think ever really fully been in many where I was like, I like what it's giving me, but I don't want more. I feel like I haven't really been, like maybe once, but because I was just like, I can't be seen with you. Like, this is embarrassing type thing. Like, I don't want anyone to know about this. But for the most part, like, I feel like I only really want a situation. Like, I really only end up in a situationship if it's something that I actually am wanting a relationship from. Because or else I'm just like, why am I wasting my time talking to you if I'm not going to date you? Well, I think as a girl, like, I'm just like, I think like next, I just want to like explore other things.
Well, I think for me, they both happened at stages where I really didn't want a relationship.
Yeah.
So I was really happy to just have that. That was like the perfect happy medium for me.
Then how don't you just
having
like
someone
and not continue if you're
because
just like
in a
not down?
situationship when somebody, it's like you are down for that person. You enjoy spending time with them. You have a great time. Like you have so much fun. You really do like that person and you really do care for them, but you're not ready to commit to a relationship. So you get everything good out of it and it's still fun. It's still nice, but I don't have to commit. And what I don't want to do is have an actual relationship and actually have to commit, you know? So when I am seeing that person, it feels good. It's nice. And I don't have to worry about anyone else.
I don't know. I feel like I've only really invested in people that I was like, I would want more. Like I didn't see a point in like the whole like, just like, oh, okay, you'll give me everything with a relationship and that's what I want. Like I'll just like,
I mean,
I feel
for
like
me
I'll
at the
just
time,
blow it
that's-
over and be like, I'm not even down.
For me at the time, that's what I wanted. And also because the other person wants a relationship, they're the ones pursuing it. So for me,
Yes, you almost
without
feel like you're in
them-
that stage.
Without them, it would have died off way earlier, for sure. For sure. But because they were pursuing
putting
it
the effort.
and they're putting the effort, it's like, okay, why not? Yeah, like, why not? Let's go
It's
for dinner.
so
Why not?
true.
Let's chill. Why not? Let's go do this activity because why not? You know, they're putting in the effort. It's so low lift for me.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the reality. That's why you're like, oh, well, why? Well, because it's easy. You know,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's like,
True.
I don't need to go out and meet someone else because I don't want a relationship anyway. So why not just stay in this?
Yeah.
It's comfortable. It's fun. It's nice. But I don't want a relationship, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So it's really... It's a tricky
Yeah.
situation, but the reality is coming from both sides. If they wanted to, they would. If they wanted a relationship, they
Mm-hmm.
would make it clear. If I wanted it to be a relationship, I definitely would have made it clear. And if you're confused, that's for a reason. You're never confused
If
when
you're
something's
confused,
working out.
they don't want you.
No, you're literally never. I cannot remember a time. Obviously, there's a certain point in a relationship where it starts being like, okay, are we boyfriend and girlfriend yet? And that lasts for maybe a month, max 2 months, till the questions like popped.
Yeah.
But anything outside of that, like, okay, what's
Yeah.
going on here?
And
you know?
everyone kind of knows the feeling because I feel like when you first start dating someone, it kind of feels a little bit like a situationship. At the beginning, before you even date, it's a situation.
Yeah,
it's like
it's tricky.
It's tricky. So you've definitely felt that before you guys have like made it official too.
Well, I think the last thing that I want to say is when you are getting out of a situationship, it's really difficult because, and I even saw somebody writing like, when you break up with a situationship, do you consider them an ex? And it's so true because it's like, you did spend like many months with this person, but are they considered an ex? You know, like I don't necessarily consider my situationships exes, But I will say that it's important in that scenario to actually cut that person off, because or else you're going to always get back into the repeating pattern of, like I said, like them coming back. I'm just going back into it because it's easy. It's like such an easy thing to go back and do. But I think like if you really, and you're not getting what you want from it, they can't give you a relationship. Like you need to cut that person off and treat it almost like a breakup. And not treat it like, okay, it didn't work out, like we can go back to being chill. Because the reality is you're gonna find your way back into that, you know? Because when things are not like set in stone to begin with, they're always kind of like wishy-washy. So it's the type of thing where like, oh, you might see them at a party one night and hook up, but like that's not good, you know? And it's not that serious because you're not actually exes and you never actually dated, so like it's fine. But then you're just continuing to put yourself in that cycle of like, we're not anything, and it's just so easy, you know?
I think especially, I hate to say that women are on a time clock, but like we kind of are. And I think to avoid being in situations where you find yourself older and still confused, to just save yourself from that, it's just to really put your energy towards somebody who's wanting the same thing as you. Even like, speaking with people who are 30, they're like, yeah, I might vibe with you. Yeah, I might see a relationship with you. But if you don't want the same thing, then see you later.
Yeah.
It's not about like you not being ready. It's about knowing what you want and like not accepting less or someone who's not going to meet you at that place, regardless of if you think they're your perfect person. It doesn't matter. Especially as women, we have to be more careful. We can't just waste our time.
Yeah.
You know? So you have to be very selective and really put your energy towards people who are willing to give you what you want.
Yeah. And I think focus less on like the imaginary fantasy that you built in your mind, because that's the thing that keeps us there. Is like, we know it'd be so good if we would just date, you know, it's going to feel so good and everything's going to be so perfect.
Yeah.
But like, the reality is it's going to be way more perfect when you're with somebody that actually wants to reciprocate that, you know?
Yeah.
So,
and like last thing, when I was speaking to this guy through, you know, like FaceTime and a message, and then we met, it was kind of like, well, we were already talking for like months before, so that when we saw each other, it was like nice. It was like exactly like how it was when we were messaging. But then when it fizzled out and it just wasn't anything, I was kind of mad at myself for allowing myself to just put all that energy into someone. And I think that's kind of where I'm like, I used to say in the past, like, oh yeah, talking to so many people, like it's fun and exciting, and it is. But when you're actually like putting in so much energy in somebody and then all of a sudden they don't reciprocate that and it just fizzles out, kind of feels like you did all that for nothing.
Yeah.
So I think that's where I'm really coming from when I say like, allow someone to pursue you through the actions they do and not through just like getting to know somebody through like words and like what it would be like. Like that's just a fantasy we're just not living in.
yeah. 100%. I totally agree. And I think honestly, guys, so many people find themselves in situationships, whether you're on like,
well, everyone does, because even a
yeah.
situationship at the beginning before it becomes a relationship is you know that feeling.
You know that feeling. And I think like sometimes you're on like one end of it or the other, but I just think like it goes for both parts, you know? You just have to understand and know what the other person wants. And also I think it's important that you're clear if you really don't want a relationship. Like you need to be clear about that with the other person. And like just to say like I always was clear and like the other person always still expected more. And I think that's, you know, also an issue within itself. It's like if I'm telling you I don't want a relationship, like you need to listen to what somebody's saying.
Yeah, and you have to also listen to what they're not doing.
Yeah.
Both of those things. And I think a lot of the times people will still continue that because when someone says,
I don't want a
I
relationship.
don't want something, it just becomes a game now. And it's like, well, I'm going to change your mind.
It's going to be me.
It's going to be me who's going to change your mind on that. So like, let the games begin. And it's like, guys, 2023, healthy. We want someone to pursue us.
Yeah. So if somebody's telling you that they don't want anything serious, take their word for it and just go. If what you want is a relationship, then that's what you should be pursuing. Don't settle for anything less. And I know it's easy. It's so fucking easy to say when there's no feelings involved. You know, like it's so easy to say from the outside because when there is feelings involved, it's so hard to break it off. You know, it feels so hard. But the reality is you're wasting time that could be better spent with somebody who actually wants to reciprocate your energy. And once you do get into that, you know, relationship that it's like, you know, 100% and like you're actually getting it back, you're like, wow, I can't believe I ever wasted energy on somebody who, you know, was just taking it all from me.
Willing to settle for like that 20% when it's like, no,
100%.
now I got somebody who's giving me 100%. Speaking of 100%, don't forget our merch is coming out real soon. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.
And we'll see you next week.